Hi everybody, this is Dan Talk Sense, and I made a really good discovery of two good clones of Tuscan Leather and Tobacco Vanille by the house of Tom Ford by a UK based company called Pocket Sense. Quite impressed with these two. If you want to know why and how close they get to the real thing, then please stay tuned. Welcome back. So I made a really good discovery this week when I tried these versions of Tuscan Leather and Tobacco Vanille by Pocket Sense. Now I've mentioned Pocket Sense before in some of my reviews. They do really decent solid interpretations of some well-known fragrances. If you look through my channel, I'll put a few links to previous reviews of Pocket Sense fragrances. The owner's really nice chap. He will talk to people on Instagram. Really good quality fragrances he's produced, the ones I've smelt so far. These for me are probably the best ones I've smelt from the house so far. One of my subscribers, Russell Kerb, sent me a bundle of decants back in the summer when I first started my channel, and he was even kind enough to colour code each one. Such a nice guy to send me over them. I didn't want to review them in the summer because we've had some really hot weather this year, and so I thought in terms of Tuscan Leather and Tobacco Vanille, for me they really are winter fragrances and you're going to really enjoy them in the winter. So the first one is called Creme Tobacc, and that was their version of Tobacco Vanille. Now what the perfumer has done with this one is he's added a nice tonka bean note in this to give it a bit more creaminess and a bit more of a gourmand feel to it, I'd say. For me, it was probably one of the closest clones of Tobacco Vanille that I've smelt. There is Al Haramain's tobacco edition. I've smelt a sample of that, and for me that had a little bit too much honey in it, and it wasn't as close as I wanted it to be. I've smelt perfume parlours and they had like a clove note in there, and I didn't really enjoy that. It was too overpowering with that clove. I think what the perfumer has done is he's got the best parts of Tobacco Vanille, which is obviously the nice tobacco and the vanilla together. For me, Tobacco Vanille smells like expensive candles. It is top class. With this one, he's added the tonka. It gives it a less, I would say, abrasive. Is that the word? I'm not sure, but it can be quite harsh when you wear Tobacco Vanille. People aren't used to it. For me, it's top class, but it is so strong, especially vintage versions of Tobacco Vanille. With that tonka, I think it makes it more mass appealing. But you've definitely recognised that Tobacco Vanille DNA. So I wore this in work and the scent bubble was above average, I would say. I could smell it around me and it smelled really, really good. Vanilla is one of my favourite notes and he's got it spot on in terms of that vanilla. It was very, very good and I was really impressed with it. It is quite cheap as well in terms of the fragrance. I'm going to put the price of it on the screen as well. But my experience of wearing Creme Tobacc was really good, and I think it would be a really good substitute for the real thing, because I have heard that Tobacco Vanille now has been reformulated and it's not as strong as it once was and doesn't perform as well as it once did. So I think I will be getting Pocket Sense version of Tobacco Vanille. Now I'll go on to Leather Essenza. This is a version of Tuscan Leather. For me, this was very close to the smell of Tuscan Leather. It has a lovely raspberry in there, which isn't too sweet. It's just about right levels of raspberry. The leather in there is a really nice leather. I would say it is close to Acqua di Parma leather, that kind of leather. It is not too strong, it's not too pungent. It was just about right where it smelt really, really good, and it smelt close to Tuscan Leather. The real Tuscan Leather for me was absolutely potent. I wore it in work once, and one of the somebody walked into where I work, into my office, and I remember them saying it smells of strong leather shoes in here, and I never wore Tuscan leather again. But I think with this version, they've toned it down a bit. I think if you really like the big and bolshy, brash, I'm wearing a strong leather fragrance, you may be a little disappointed. It's not as strong for me as the real Tuscan leather. But for me, that was good because I don't want to be smelling of really ultra strong leather. With both of these that I wore, the performance was really, really good. It was solid. I was getting 5 to 6 hours, I'd say. You know, it's getting through. Say I put it on 8 o'clock, mid-afternoon, I was still getting whiffs of it. The morning projecting really, really well. And what you get with Pocket Scents, and I mentioned this in my other reviews of their fragrances, is you don't get the synthetic opening that you do usually get with cheap designer fragrances or clones. You have really natural smelling, well blended, and does smell more expensive than they actually are. Out of the two, I'm not the biggest fan of Tuscan leather. I don't think that I'll be going out and buying leather essenza, but I will definitely be buying La Creme Tobacc because I just love the smell of vanilla, and that tobacco together is superb. So really solid releases from the house of Pocket Scents. If you haven't checked out their fragrances before, definitely watch a few of the reviews from not just myself but other fragrance reviewers out there. Barry Centralized, he's done some really good reviews of Pocket Scents. There's a number of reviewers out there, UK based reviewers, that got their hands on Pocket Scents fragrances, and they'll tell you how good they are. They really, really are good quality. For me, I'd say Perfume Parlour does you know, a shed load of really good clones of fragrances, no doubt. But I just think that Pocket Scents are of a higher quality, and the pricing is just about right. They're a bit more expensive than Perfume Parlour, but what you're getting is of a higher quality. Really impressed with the house, with the brand, and the perfumer is doing a cracking job. So definitely check out Pocket Scents, really good house. If you haven't subscribed already, I will be dropping more content like this, making you aware of cheap clones of niche and designer fragrances. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll speak to you all very soon.